slap machine? So, that's a joke. I appreciate everybody coming out this afternoon. We just successfully completed a bye week. Everybody wants to know, well, what do you do on a bye week? What does that look like? The focus was on us. You know, we didn't spend 2 weeks on Northwest. We didn't look further ahead at I don't know who we play after Northwest. But, you know, we spent 4 days, 5 days on us, and looking at the film and looking at some of the glaring mistakes we made and trying to get those addressed before we go into league play. And so we went 1-0 for the week. You know, I thought we got better. We stayed healthy. We got our guys fresh, mentally, physically, and so I think these guys are ready to go into conference play.
Coach, when we talk about a bye week and the scheduling of a bye week, you set this up on purpose to have this week off before you started conference play. Did you get what you hoped from it?
Yeah, I think so, because again, we played 2 good opponents, week 1, week 2, gave us an opportunity to find out about ourselves. We learned a lot about our football team, and in the process we were able to win a couple games as well, which was kind of the cherry on top. But then we get the bye week to really address deficiencies, like, all right, hey, we're going to need to be able to do this going forward. And so we were able to spend some time on those things, and then now we get into conference play and get ourselves rolling.
Not to take away from the opponent of Northwest, but Saturday there's going to be a celebration of life for Coach Ware, who you played for, and Coach Patasso played for. Talk about the importance of what he was to you and why you're standing at this podium, because he had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, no, if you'll see on our helmets, you'll see pride in the eyes of one for 1%. Just that concept of getting better every day was a motto that Coach Ware lived by. And even though he was only our head coach for 2 years, just had an astonishing impact on everybody that was around him. You didn't have to be around him for a year. Just being in his presence for a few moments, you knew just how great an individual he was. And so him and a lot of guys on that staff are the reason I coach college football. And there's a lot of guys that I know are coaching today. I think if you would talk to Coach Patasso, he'd tell you the same thing. These guys just had profound impacts on my life, and I've got a dad and a mom, and I got great people in my corner, and I felt like I added another when Coach Ware was my coach.
Coach, you know, talk a little bit about the past. You know, tough loss last season to Northwest. You know, what's kind of the game plan or mindset going into Friday for the game?
Yeah, I mean, we've flushed that. You know, it seems so long ago. You know what I mean? And I think that's a good thing. But we're not the same team. They're not the same team. We've gotten a lot better. They've gotten a lot better. I mean, it's just it's 2 new teams, and so although the history is history, but we're hoping to kind of rewrite history and start a new chapter, if you will.
And first MIAA conference play. You know, how important is it to set that tone early?
Yeah, we talked at our team meeting on Sunday that we're entering a season of 1-game seasons. So our eyes are fixed solely on Saturday, and so the goal is to come out of Saturday with a win. But you know, if we don't win, that's not the end of the season. You know what I mean? And we're not preparing for letdown, but we got to understand that we're just going to put our nose down and we're going to work week in and week out for that week, and then we'll celebrate or mourn for 24 hours, and then we'll move on to the next week.
And I'm sure you took the bye week to kind of, you know, rest, but also look at Northwest. So what are some of the things that you guys are trying to do to counter their strengths for the upcoming game?
Yeah, it's tough, you know, because they are growing and improving rapidly. If you watch them versus their first game in Minnesota, Mankato, you're like, okay, this team's got some deficiencies. And then, man, the next week, they fixed those deficiencies. And then the next week, they fixed even more. So they are continuing to get better and better. And so at the end of the day, it comes down to playing your best football. And we do a lot of game planning and scheming and all those things. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, you know, which team blocks better, which team throws the ball, catches the ball, tackles, all those things. The fundamentals, the ABCs of football don't change regardless of the opponent.
What have you shared with maybe some of your newcomers about entering MIAA play?
Well, it's just the biggest thing that I've talked about is just getting yourself emotionally and physically ready. The MIAA is unmatched, it's so different. And so what I mean by that is you don't get to just test the waters. You don't get to go in and just kind of move your way into the game. You got to go in and you got to start throwing haymakers from the start. And so that's probably the important thing, is just making sure they're ready to go from the start. And we understand that to do that, we got to have a great week of preparation. We got to have a great practice today and tomorrow, Wednesday, and then Thursday on our day off. We got to recoup. We got to get fresh, and then come back and have a really clean practice on Friday morning.
Tillman Martin's coming off MIAA Player of the Week award after week 2. What can you say about his progression and how he's played so far this season?
He's okay. No, hey, here's the deal, man. A lot of credit goes to him and what he's doing back there. But I think as you watch our games closely, I'm not trying to sound cliche, but we're getting some really good play calls. Our O-line is doing a really nice job with protection. We were able to establish the run game in the first week, and so that brought the safeties down closer to the box, and so it gave the opportunity for the pass game to bloom. You got receivers that are going up and making plays. Draper Parker, Isaiah Green, Isaiah Padello, Aiden Robinson-Wayne made a big one over. I mean, so you got, as you see these guys, I'm not taking anything away from Tillman's performances, but he's got a really, really good supporting cast, if you will, right now, and we just got to continue to do that.
Coach, tell us a little bit about the John Ware weekend. We have a whole weekend planned here at Missouri Southern. Share with us a little bit about what that looks like and what that means for the 2004-2005 teams.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So those of you who don't know, Coach Ware actually passed on the 27th, 20 years ago. We'll be up in Warrensburg that weekend, so we decided to do a celebration a week early. And so Friday night, the 04 and 05 team will get together. We'll have a little social. We'll tell stories about how good we were and how much weight we lifted, and all those made-up stories that we'll tell our kids. But then Saturday, at 12 o'clock, we'll have a remembrance, a celebration of life. We'll have a couple speakers that knew Coach Ware in his time before coaching football, his time at Truman State, his time here. And then we'll tailgate a little bit, and then we'll watch a great football game. We've got a great video that's been put together that we'll watch at halftime. So just an opportunity to just remember him and what he was and what he meant to this community, what he meant to me personally. And so it's going to be a great weekend.
Is there a favorite quote of his that sticks with you, or?
Oh man, I don't know how many players are watching. So obviously 9/11 happens, right? It's a big deal. And after 9/11, there were a lot of laws passed where airport security all of a sudden heightened. And there's all these things that are happening, anti-terrorism laws. I mean, it's a big deal. 2 years after, Missouri Southern, or not Missouri Southern, the MIAA institutes a sock rule where every player has to have the same length sock, color sock, and one couldn't be knee high, one couldn't be thigh high or calf high. They all had to be the same. And so this ref comes up to Coach Ware at the end, and he's like, hey, number so-and-so needs to fix his socks, and so-and-so needs to fix his socks. And Coach Ware just throws up his hands, and if you ever heard his voice, it's just the deepest bear voice. He's like, Jerry, socks and terrorism, socks and terrorism. And there's some words I had to cut out for to be TV friendly, but it just that was what he was. He had this incredible dry humor. He was 6'4", 6'5", 300 and who knows, power lifter, just a giant bear. But he would just bellow some of these dry jokes, and he ha 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 ha. You know what I mean? But the socks and terrorism always sticks with me. That was a fun one.
So, Coach, he passed away at 46 years old, and by a very short time, 22 months here at Missouri Southern.
Yeah.
So what did Missouri Southern lose with his early passing and death?
Yeah, well, I think if you follow Missouri Southern history, if you follow the MIAA, one of the things that makes the programs in this league so successful is stability. The great programs have had guys at the same guy at the helm for decades, for years and years, and so I think when Coach Ware came here, he was going to provide that for Missouri Southern, and you saw in just a short time us jump up the rung of the MIAA and get competitive in a hurry. And there's no doubt in my mind that had he still been here, the trajectory of our football program would be completely different. Because I feel like even after him, I think I'm the 6th or 7th head coach since he passed, whereas our peers in this league are on their 2nd or 3rd head coach since he passed. And so that damage to our program is unmeasurable.
So last question, 20 years later, right? And as we look at the 20-year anniversary of his death, there's a lot of people who've been through Missouri Southern since that time. So if you could boil it down to one word or sentence as to why we're honoring Coach Ware this weekend and the impact that he had, what would that be?
One word is tough, but I would just say people. I didn't even play O-line, and I felt like Coach Ware was my position coach. So I would definitely say people. I mean, he invested in the lives of those he coached with, those he coached for. Just is an incredible guy. I was talking with on air recording earlier, and I was talking about how I coach now and how tickled pink I get when I get text from players and former players and former coaches, and just how cool it would be to have the opportunity to let Coach Ware know just how big an impact he had on my life.
Coach, real quick, do your players know the importance of this weekend and the importance of Coach Ware 20 years later? Has that been conveyed to them?
Not yet. So I'm kind of weird with making loaded games, if you will. I want these guys to go out and play inspired ball for them, and this is a pretty motivated group. They don't need another added way, but we will talk about it just because I think it's important for them to understand kind of history and those that come before them. But yeah, we'll talk about it.
Cool. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Trying to choke me up with that last one.
Oh, leave him hanging.
Oh, sorry. My name's Alex Curry. I'm from Joplin, Missouri. I play offensive line, and I am a general studies major.
Mr. Curry, what's it like being in that offensive line group after the job you guys have done the first 2 weeks? First week, you had the rush attack. Second week, it was Tillman doing his thing back there throwing. You've shown with that group that you guys can do both things. But what's the attitude like in that room?
Mainly, it's just having an attitude of physicality and effort. And we understand that we have to dominate every play for our offense to run. I mean, we're a run-heavy offense, but we've shown that we can throw the ball, and we have to have the mindset of domination every play. So I think that's the big key to our success, is just wanting to dominate and take advantage of every situation we get and just be the best group on the field.
Is there accountability in that room?
Yes, I'd say so. We got a lot of older guys. Like, I'm 22, Ian Faulkner's 21, and Funky's also 21. So we're a pretty aged, experienced group, and we make sure we're all on the same page, and we get to work, and it's fun. It's a fun environment to be in.
Oh, okay, I'll go. After last year's loss against Northwest State, what's the mentality for the O-line going into this matchup?
The mentality is really just do your job and just abuse the man in front of you, because they have a great D-line. They're very strong, they're very big, but the thing is we can do it. We have the potential and the capabilities to be the best group on the field, no matter who we're going against, whatever D-line, whether it's Pitt State, Northwest. Washburn, we're going to dominate.
And with the bye week last week, how was the O-line kind of using that to improve to go against the Bearcats defense?
Really, it was all technique. We really had to focus on technique and execution last week because we play hard. Our guys play hard, and it's just cleaning up the little things. Once we get those little things cleaned up, we'll be all good. And I think we did a pretty good job of that during the bye week.
And heading into MIAA conference play, what kind of statement do you and the O-line kind of want to make?
We just want to show that we're the most physical group in the MIAA. I know we don't have any returners besides Funky, but we want to show that we're one of the best groups in the MIAA and want to make sure we're not overlooked.
And how do you personally kind of want to go into that game? You know, as a leader, how are you going to kind of coach up the O-line for this game?
It's really just a dog mentality, a pack mentality, making sure we take care of our job, making sure we're all on the same page, and dominating in every aspect of offensive line play.
Cool. Thank you so much, Alex.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Hello, I'm Hayden Sink. I'm from Castro, Missouri. I'm in marketing and I play D-line, defensive end.
Talk about the defensive line. You guys have about 8 or 9 guys that rotate in and out. Talk about the importance of having that depth and having fresh bodies going in.
I mean, it's big time. I know for me, I get tired out there pretty quickly. You think you're in shape, but then you get out there wrestling with these guys and you realize quickly that, you know, it's a high speed, high game, and you need these guys behind you to get out there and go as hard as they can so you can get back out there, catch your breath, and give it 100%. And like I said, like the guys behind us, they're just as good as us, and having that depth, having that rotation is really important.
You guys have been in the room listening to Coach Bradley talk about Coach Ware and all that. Does it surprise you to hear Coach Bradley talk about somebody like that as your head coach?
It does. He hasn't talked too much about it, but I've heard stories from him and Patasso, and he seems like a really good guy. Only there for 2 years, but still having stories 20 years later is pretty inspiring.
Tough loss against Northwest, 59 points last season, but, you know, how has, you know, the defensive unit kind of approached that challenge into Friday?
It's exciting because we just know it's never going to happen again, and like I said, that was last year, you know, and we have a ton of new guys, new culture around us, and last year we just weren't together, we weren't a unit, and then this year we all have the same goal in mind to go out there and win. So.
And with that bye week, how was defense kind of preparing for Bearcats offense?
It's just kind of going over the tinier things, because we had some mistakes the first 2 weeks that against Northwest, it wouldn't fly, it wouldn't be okay, you know. One missed assignment there could be a touchdown for them, and so we're just cleaning up on the tiny things and also getting our bodies right. I know for me, like some just little injuries like knee problems or whatever, getting in the training room really helps out.
And what's your personal mindset going into the game to kind of help bring up the defense in times of need?
I like the underdog mentality, you know. I know it was 59-0 last year and our mindset is to win, but I just love that they're going to come in here thinking they're just going to steamroll us, and I just love that mentality.
Speaking of the bye week, you know, it's a good chance to rest some of those dents and dings.
Yeah.
How do you see your unit health-wise?
They're honestly really healthy. We had some guys banged up in the fall, and now they're coming back out there. They're all wrapped up and they're ready to go. I can't think of anyone that has an injury that's out right now that's been playing the first 2 weeks. And I know when I went in there for an ice bath this morning, I saw about 3 of my guys in there, and we were just happy for each other getting in there.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.